What if the Jedi had visions of Anakin burning on Mustafar? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The mood in the Jedi Council Chambers is tense as they gather for a group meditation. Although the fires of the recent Battle of Coruscant have faded into the background, they still raise some uncomfortable questions about the war and what shall come after. They saw how close the Republic came to destruction, which cannot be easily ignored. This raises some issues about the future regarding the Clone Wars and beyond. To that end, they gather in the Council Chambers to determine just that. The 12 Council members gather to meditate. Whether they are there in person or as holograms, they bow their heads in quiet contemplation. However, this proves to be more difficult than anticipated, as over the last few weeks the Force has become unpredictable, as if something has been clouding their ability to look through the Force. Yet Yoda pushes them forward. With all 12 members of the Jedi Council with them, their combined powers should look beyond the veil. He closes his eyes and concentrates. Beads of sweat begin to form across his eyes as he tries to focus, pushing through the invisible barriers. Around him, the other masters mirror his expression, and bit by bit, they catch glimpses of the future. But what they see is something that none of them expect.
You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!
Yoda gasps, and several council members' eyes shoot open, their expressions stricken and horrified. It is clear that they have all seen the same thing, and none of them is happy with what they see, especially Obi-Wan, whose face is frozen in horror. His jaw falls open, and he slowly shakes his head as he refuses to believe what he's seen. And yet, Yoda nods his head grimly. This vision was no trick of their mind. It feels too true, like an actual vision in the Force. That means that Anakin is in grave danger, and beyond that, the Republic as a whole.
This is impossible. I would never do that. Anakin, something must be happening to him.
Dark these visions are, and raising many questions it does. Sense a danger to the Republic, I do. Watch Skywalker closely, we must.
I agree. I've always known the boy to be reckless, but I never once doubted his loyalty. This is something I'd never expect. We must look to see if there are changes in his behavior and what might be causing it.
Let us calm down for a moment. Are we even certain that these visions are true? It is not the first time the Force has played tricks on us. Those who try to predict the future often find themselves unable to tell fable from reality. No, I sense the truth of this matter. There is a great danger, and Anakin is in the middle of it. We must make sure he is safe. Someone may try to manipulate him.
No, the Jedi Council cannot. Too obvious it would be. Go alone, you must, Master Kenobi. Trust anyone else, he does not.
I agree. If anyone else were to go, it might raise suspicions and make Anakin more frustrated. You must go, Master Kenobi, and ensure that he does not fall to the dark side for his sake and the Republic.
This is a great responsibility you've put on my shoulders, but I accept and will do all that I can.
When the time comes to assign Anakin his new mission, he is shocked to hear what it will be. He must spy on the Supreme Chancellor and ensure he will relinquish power by the end of the war. To that end, he must report all suspicious activity to the Jedi Council. He is dismayed by that news, believing that the Jedi are overstepping themselves by asking him to spy on Palpatine. To him, the Chancellor is beyond criticism, as he has led the Republic well throughout the war. But to make matters worse, they will have him report directly to Obi-Wan, who will serve as his handler. Rather than simply letting him operate on his own, they are giving him a babysitter. The Jedi say it is to keep their distance from the operation to avoid it looking too obvious. To Anakin, it is the Jedi making bold claims and not even having the principles to stand by them. Yet Anakin cannot ignore these requests and accepts the mission with great reluctance. His heart is not in it, and Palpatine notices. He sees how Anakin observes him, but also the flickering anger and resentment on his face. It is just how he predicted when he baited the Jedi to assign him this task. But while they are playing the traitors and conspirators, He is the comforting friend there to talk to Anakin and hear his worries. He tells Anakin that he knows what the Jedi have asked him to do and does not blame him. He lets him vent and express his frustration, not just with the Jedi Order, but also with his life, and how he feels like he can't live up to the expectations around him. And all of this gives Anakin a place to voice his frustrations in a way he never could with the Jedi Order. Here, the young Jedi feels like he can just be himself, without expectations of the galaxy or the Force. This is something he cannot do with Obi-Wan, who he must remember is part of the Jedi Council, something this mission has made very clear. For the next few weeks, his mission proceeds without any issue, as Palpatine focuses on rebuilding, and Anakin shadows him. He accompanies him to survey the city, observing the damages and begin planning for repairs. But when they are alone, the two talk, and Palpatine shares his plans for a better government, one where the people never fear for their safety, and wishes Anakin to be a part of it. The trust that Palpatine has in him is something he has never felt within the Jedi, and it makes him feel better. For the first time, Anakin is happy to be assigned this mission, and leaves the Chancellor's office feeling relieved and happy to get these feelings off his chest. But as this happens, Palpatine is sure to remind Anakin of the Jedi Council's issues, how they are breaking the law trying to make him do this mission, and how they are more concerned with other people's flaws instead of their own issues, something Anakin agrees with. Of course, he must report all of this to Obi-Wan. He notices the change in Anakin's demeanor too, and frowns, wondering how Anakin has changed his stance so quickly, and suspects Palpatine is doing something. As his former apprentice gives him his report, he broaches the topic.
So, is that all? Just a reconstruction project in the lower districts?
That's all I know of. It should be his priority with Coruscant so badly damaged. Is something wrong?
No, of course not. I agree. It's just that something feels different about you, Anakin. Your demeanor seems different. Happier. I just wonder, did something happen between the two of you?
No, Master. Nothing happened. I was given a mission and I did that. Nothing more and nothing less.
Good. Because Anakin, if he tells you anything, asks you something, or promises you anything, you must inform us right away.
He doesn't promise me anything he shouldn't. Can you please just drop this, Master?
Can you answer me properly, Anakin? I'm trying to protect you.
Protect me? From who? Or are you just trying to protect the Jedi Council's interests? I've answered all your questions, done everything they've asked for, and that somehow still isn't enough for them.
We're not doing this for our self-interest. We're trying to ensure the Republic remains as it should.
And how should it be? Simply how it was? When no one cared enough to fix problems? Maybe that Republic isn't worth fighting for anymore, and the Jedi should look at something new. If you have nothing else to say, I've given my report and would like to take my leave.
He storms off, leaving Obi-Wan to contemplate everything that's happened. His concern for Anakin only grows from here, as now more than ever, he's certain that Anakin is being misled by Palpatine and that something is going on. He reports everything to the Jedi Council, warning them of what is going on and urging them to take action, as Anakin might slip deeper into the dark side. The Council sits in grave silence, taking in everything they've heard. This is ill news indeed, and this could pose trouble for the Jedi Order if it continues. Yoda opens his eyes slowly. Mace Windu's gaze is fixed on the center of the chamber. Obi-Wan stands rigid, arms tucked in his sleeves, tension carved into his face.
This is most concerning. Skywalker's loyalties are becoming conflicted. We must make sure that his loyalties are still with the Jedi Order.
How do we ensure that? He will not talk to me, and I think pushing will only drive him closer into Palpatine's arms. We need not have to say anything. If the dark side has infiltrated him, then it will show itself somehow. We must test him and see if the dark side has corrupted him.
A hologram flickers to life. Intel on forgotten separatist outposts in the Cathar wastes. It vanishes after a few seconds. Silence resumes.
This outpost was captured by the CIS recently. Let him recapture it, and we shall see how well he holds on to our teachings.
Endless dunes of white sand crash into jagged red rock formations like waves against cliffs. The sun is brutal. Wind howls through canyons with the voice of ancient ghosts. A lone Jedi starfighter drops through the sky like a hawk. Anakin Skywalker climbs out. His robe billows violently behind him as he marches forward, lightsaber unlit but ready at his hip. No clone troopers, no backup, only him. The outpost looms ahead, crude durasteel fortifications jutting up from the canyon floor. Separatist flags flap in the wind. Blaster turrets swivel. The first shots scream through the air, but Anakin is already moving. With precise, explosive grace, he dashes forward. Blue lightsaber ignites mid-sprint. Bolts deflect. 2 droids fall in pieces before they can scream. He crashes into the outpost like a storm. Metal and sparks fly. His saber carves through doors and armor alike. A soldier screams as he's pulled off his feet and slammed into the wall. Then silence. But as he bursts inside the hallway, traps are starting to spring up as electrified walls and trip mines activate, forcing Anakin to watch for every step. As these traps activate, Anakin nearly dies 100 times, all the while hearing the taunting voice of the super tactical droid. However, he continues to press forward, the anger brewing within as he forces his way through the traps until he reaches the command center. Anakin bursts in. The last of the droids lie in 2 halves behind. Only the Separatist lieutenant remains, backing toward a holotable. The droid activates something on his wristcom as the walls are electrified and shocks Anakin. He screams and drops to the ground as the droid grabs him and slams him against the wall before pummeling him. But then, anger flashes, and he shoves the droid back and slashes it across its arm and lets the dark side flash. It flows out in a single burst that shatters the room and causes the electricity to fizzle out. Anakin rips the weapon from his hand with a flick of a wrist. Rage pulses behind his eyes like coals, and then he cuts the droid down. Anakin exhales, chest heaving. He looks at his own hands, fingers still slightly curled as if reluctant to release the invisible grip. High above, Obi-Wan kneels at the edge of a cliff, hidden behind a jagged outcropping. His breath catches. He sees it all. The fury, the execution. Anakin walks from the building slowly, saber still lit, its blue glow casting a ghostly aura around him. For a moment, Obi-Wan can hardly recognize his former apprentice. He closes his eyes and shakes his head sadly. When he reports this to the Jedi Council, they are equally stunned by this. They are concerned with how freely he unleashes the dark side. It's clear Anakin does not restrain himself as well, and they worry that he might not be able to resist Palpatine if he were able to reach out to him. This leads them to make the difficult decision to make Anakin resign from the mission and the Jedi Order. Unsurprisingly, he is furious at this, and takes this as a confirmation that the Jedi truly do not trust him, and will gladly throw him aside once his usefulness has come to an end. He leaves the Order in a rage, denouncing them all as he storms out. But when he comes to Padme's apartment, she finds him staring at the window and reaches out to him.
Annie, I know how upsetting this must be to deal with now of all times, but perhaps it is for the best. You said it yourself. The Jedi Council doesn't trust you. And now you won't have to deal with them or this terrible mission.
It isn't just that, Padme. Not that they just don't trust me. They never did. They always saw me as a problem. And even when they need me, they don't even trust me enough to let me help. How can I ever appease them?
Now's not the time to think of that. The war is coming to an end, and nothing is holding us here. How about after the children are born, we leave Coruscant, go somewhere far like Naboo, and never look back?
Anakin stops to consider what that might mean. A life without the responsibilities of the Jedi, without the burdens of being the chosen one. Simply enjoying his life and living his days in peace. It sounds almost too good to be true, and he is sorely tempted to accept it, whatever the consequences might be. He wants to say yes. Nothing would make him happier than to accept. But before he does, he sees Palpatine trying to contact him. The Chancellor asks to see him before he goes. Although Padme tells him it is no longer his job to keep an eye on the Chancellor, he cannot stay away. Palpatine has been his friend for years, and he cannot bring himself to ignore him now. Against her advice, he decides to visit him the next day. Palpatine offers Anakin a haggard smile.
Anakin, my boy, I was worried about you when I heard what happened. How could the Jedi Council possibly kick you out of the Order?
I don't know, Chancellor. I suppose I've done things that displeased them.
You just saved the Republic, my boy. It must have been something quite severe, or the Jedi Council has a short memory. Nevertheless, I will rally the masses and gather more allies. We will make the Jedi rethink their decision.
I appreciate the offer, Chancellor, but I don't think that will be necessary. Right now, I just want to focus on my personal life. I might even retire for a bit.
Oh, I see. Well, I cannot say I truly blame you, although I admit I am disappointed.
I was hoping for your support, especially now, given what's happened.
What happened, Chancellor?
The Jedi. I fear they are more paranoid than I had originally anticipated. With their removal of you from the Jedi Order, I worry that they may try to cut me out of communications entirely. And now they seem even more convinced that the dark side has infiltrated the Senate. I worry they may send another spy. I was hoping to confront them about it. And you, who had been assigned to that role, can help. Your presence lends credence to my cause.
Anakin looks at the Chancellor, unsure of what to say. On one hand, he is honored by his trust, but on the other, he knows this is a dangerous game. He wanted out of politics, and to get between their conflicts, this sounds like it'll just drag him back in. Palpatine senses this and places a hand on his shoulder.
I only ask that you show some strength. March to the temple and submit my demands. I will provide you with a strong escort to accomplish this.
That's it then? Just reading some terms and showing them I'm on your side?
Of course, my boy. After that, you would have done more than enough for me. You may retire with my blessing.
Anakin smiles and thanks him. He bows one last time and makes his way out. But as he departs, the Chancellor frowns and looks over his communicator, where he taps it, and a temple guard appears. One who had defected to him and kept an eye on the happenings of the Jedi Temple for him. In exchange, he promises to make him the Grand Inquisitor of his new order. The guard removes his helmet to reveal the Pau'an's features, who offers a smile.
Everything is set, Master. All that remains is for the boy to set the trap.
Good. The Jedi have overreached themselves. Now they will learn the price for their folly.
The plaza before the temple is silent as a tomb. Coruscant's usual din is distant, hushed. But that is until Anakin Skywalker appears from the mist. He is not alone, though. Behind him, armies of clone troopers appear. A full battalion of white and red armored clone troopers. They march in perfect formation, crimson-striped armor gleaming in the overcast light. The great doors of the temple creak open as Jedi Masters await him at the entrance. Mace Windu, Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shak Ti, others, all visibly alarmed by the armed escort. Anakin meets Obi-Wan's eyes for a flicker of a second. Something unsaid passes between them. He then pulls out a datapad and begins to read. By executive decree of the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Senate, the Jedi Order is to comply with the following. A permanent Senate observer is to be granted a seat within the Jedi Council. All Jedi intelligence operations on the Republic are to cease immediately, and the Order's surveillance archives will be submitted for review. Jedi deployments will now require Senate authorization.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
Skywalker, the Chancellor cannot truly expect to enforce these laws.
A violation, this is, of the Order's sovereignty.
As was having me spy on the Chancellor. The room erupts into murmurs, disbelief simmering into fury.
These terms are unacceptable. They violate the core of Jedi independence, Anakin. You cannot mean to deliver this as a threat.
I didn't want to get involved in this at all. I didn't want it, but you all forced me to do it. Then, a temple guard steps forward from the shadows. The Pau'an's face expressionless, helmet held at his side, bows to Anakin, but it's only for a show. In his other hand, he subtly presses a signal device behind his back. Suddenly, blaster fire erupts outside. Screams. A massive explosion rocks the temple's lower levels. The entire building trembles. Clone troopers spin toward the windows. They think the Jedi fired upon them, while the Jedi think the clones are forcing their way inside.
We're under attack. The Jedi forces are engaging us.
But it's not true. It's a setup. From the balconies, several clones open fire, prearranged, and several Jedi deflect the bolts in defense. In the chaos, a misfire kills a Padawan. Screaming breaks out. The Council is on their feet immediately, readying their lightsabers and rushing out. Yoda leaps into action, unleashing the Force and throwing the clones back with the Force while Mace forms up the defensive lines. It spreads like wildfire. Throughout the temple, clones and Jedi clash in confusion, betrayal, and desperation. Anakin sees this and leaps out of the building, landing in the courtyard and directing his men. Commander Fox, capture this temple. Set rounds to stun. Capture the Jedi. I want them alive. The clone nods and begins rallying his men. They form into organized units and charge forward. However, despite Anakin's attempt to keep things under control, the clones' actions say otherwise. Their blasters fire upon the Jedi with the intent to kill, capturing only a handful when it's convenient. They don't even bother setting their blasters to stun. Anakin rushes after, disarming and knocking out Jedi fighters, pushing his men deeper as the few remaining Jedi Masters in the temple try to keep things together. But their fighting grows more intense, and the orders of restraint are soon forgotten. Even the Jedi Masters throw off their restraints and focus on protecting their order, even if it means killing. Anakin is the only one to try and keep them back. Anakin turns in horror as the Pauan temple guard calmly draws his saber staff and slashes down a knight trying to shield younglings. He grins.
They attacked first, Skywalker. You saw it.
Anakin!
But Anakin doesn't move. He's watching it all unravel around him, his worst fears. The Jedi were betrayed by their image. The Republic is at war with itself. Padme's face flashes through his mind. Obi-Wan doesn't stop, though, and swings his saber towards him. The younger Jedi is forced to defend, blocking the attack and seeing the anger and disgust in his master's eyes.
Look at what you've done. This isn't balance. You've delivered the Jedi Temple right to the dark side.
Anakin parries his strike and forces him back, but the older Jedi comes at him again. Despite his best efforts, Anakin feels his anger flash, and when he redirects the attack, the young Jedi strikes back harder. Their weapons ring across the room as they trade blows. Anakin ducks under one slash and knocks Obi-Wan back, slamming him into the ground. When he tries to stab his shoulder and hold him in place, his master rolls aside and kicks him.
I didn't want any of this. It was the Jedi Council who forced my hand. They brought politics into this temple, not me.
And what do you call this? You're enforcing the Chancellor's will in here.
Are you surprised? This whole thing was caused by you spying on the Chancellor. Didn't you think that he'd respond?
He sweeps his lightsaber towards Obi-Wan in an overhead strike. His master blocks this, but the power behind these strikes grows stronger as they clash. Anakin's power begins to overpower him, sending him stumbling back.
No one wanted this. It didn't have to come to this.
His attacks grow stronger. He can see the darkness in Anakin, but it's not from Palpatine or corruption. It's from pain. And Obi-Wan realizes where it's coming from. His anger turns to horror, and he hesitates. As he beats back another blow, he bows his head.
Anakin, I'm sorry. What? I had visions of you, falling to the dark side and burning alive. I was worried Palpatine would do something to make you turn.
Realization dawns on Anakin as he sees his master's pain. His lightsaber lowers, and he looks around.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I didn't want you to share in this pain. I couldn't let it come to fruition. But I see I was trying to be your master when I should have been your friend.
The two men stare at each other, the anger and resentment gone, replaced with pain and horror of what they were doing to each other and what was happening now. The silence between Anakin and Obi-Wan hangs heavy in the broken chamber. Outside, the battle continues. Blaster fire, screams, shattering stone. But here, in this moment, time is slowed. But then there's a flicker of movement. The temple guard, the Pauan traitor, emerges, blade ignited, slashing towards Obi-Wan's exposed back. Anakin reacts instinctively and shoves Obi-Wan aside, and locks sabers with the guard. He drives the guard back with a brutal series of blows, disarming him with a final force-assisted strike that sends the lightsaber clattering to the floor. The guard collapses to his knees, snarling.
You wanted this. You engineered it.
We merely gave you a nudge. The rest was you.
Anakin reaches out, presses a hand to the guard's temple, and invokes the Force, not to harm, but to extract the truth. Visions flare before him. Palpatine's orders, the secret meetings, the signal, the explosion, the guard's new title, Grand Inquisitor. Anakin's eyes widen. He stumbles back.
It was all a setup. The whole thing. Palpatine wanted war inside the temple.
We have to expose this, now.
The two share a nod and rush off, hurrying to Palpatine's office. But as they depart, Anakin activates his communicator and sends a signal to the clones to hear whatever happens. Palpatine stands at the panoramic window, watching the fires on the horizon. The Jedi Temple burns faintly in the distance, its spires wreathed in smoke. He smiles to himself, until the doors hiss open. Anakin and Obi-Wan stride in, sabers drawn.
Ah, so the survivors return. I trust the council is significantly reduced.
You lied to me. You set the whole thing up.
I gave you the truth. The Jedi wanted control. I offered you freedom.
You offered him damnation.
Then so be it.
He explodes into motion. Force lightning crackles from his hands, filling the chamber. Anakin absorbs the surge with his blade while Obi-Wan circles and moves in close. He strikes at Palpatine's side and sweeps down. The Chancellor dodges these attacks and reveals his lightsaber. They clash several times, but the strength of Palpatine is on a different level. As Obi-Wan meets him, he laughs and throws the Jedi back. Anakin quickly takes his place, sliding low and hurling a vase at him. Palpatine slashes it apart but moves his weapon down to parry Anakin's blow. He twists and tries to hit from the sides, though the Chancellor moves with him. Obi-Wan follows, and the two begin raining down attacks in perfect synchronization. The dark energy around Palpatine is forced to be split, as he cannot simply overwhelm them both. Palpatine is powerful, more than either anticipated, but he is forced to retreat. As he gives ground, Obi-Wan presses forward, driving his lightsaber forward. Palpatine barely manages to block, but Anakin kicks him in the knee, knocking him from his stance and sending him toppling over. He barely stops Anakin from decapitating him, but instead feels the lightsaber burn his neck. He hisses in pain and gasps, falling to the ground. Surrender.
Never.
He unleashes another burst of lightning and rolls to his feet, starting to sprint off. But what he doesn't see is the holo-recorder, which has been quietly activated by Anakin minutes earlier. Palpatine races through a hidden tunnel, emerging near a Senate security platform. Commander Fox and a squad of clones stand nearby, alerted by the alarm.
Fox, Skywalker and Kenobi have betrayed us.
Anakin lands beside him, eyes blazing, Obi-Wan at his flank.
We don't take orders from scum like you. What are your orders, General?
The Chancellor is dismissed. Palpatine makes one last move. His hand rises.
Execute order.
Before he can finish, Commander Fox doesn't hesitate. His men raise their blasters and they open fire. A single precise bolt strikes Palpatine square in the chest. He collapses, silent, motionless. With this recording, the attack on the Jedi Temple comes to an end in an instant, but the Senate is in chaos with this revelation. Many senators try to distance themselves from the Chancellor and his policies, letting Padme and her faction go on the offensive. Meanwhile, as the Jedi recover from the attack, Obi-Wan speaks on their growing politicization and how it has affected them. He understands what Anakin was saying and agrees, saying it is time for them to distance themselves from the Senate and Republic, choosing to relocate the Order off Coruscant. Many agree, and Anakin is offered his position back, but he thinks about what Padme has said before and politely declines, opting to instead return to Naboo. However, Obi-Wan continues to remain in correspondence with him, ready to call on him when they need him. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.